Ah, the square. A mostly flat, square-shaped landmass drifting in space in an alternate reality to our own. It has hills, mountains, oceans, islands, deserts, jungles, and more, which are all inhabited by one of the most unique and mysterious species you'll ever meet. Polytopians. But what are Polytopians? Human researchers have not been given too many specimens to examine, so a lot of this is speculation, or what little we know. On the surface, they're blocky, sapient, bipedal, and vaguely mammalian, standing approximately 10 centimeters tall, and have arms and feet that float around their bodies, with some exceptions. Polytopian scholars aren't exactly too sure how the arms and feet float or how they stay connected, but there's also plenty that we humans don't know about ourselves either. The tops of their heads grow hair, although most tribes tend to shave theirs. And all Polytopians have these giant eyes that dominate most of their otherwise featureless faces. We haven't gotten a verified picture or a live demonstration of a Polytopian consuming food, which means we have no idea how they eat either, so don't ask us. Internally, they're not unlike us. They have skin and flesh supported by a robust internal skeleton. They eat and drink to sustain themselves. They have the ability to communicate. And they can reproduce. What makes them differ from us is twofold. Number one, Polytopians are genderless. There are no male or female Polytopians, just Polytopians. Second, Polytopians lay eggs instead of performing live birth. These eggs take about 4 months to gestate, and they grow from being the size of their hands when laid to approximately 5 centimeters tall right before hatching. They won't give us an answer on whether or not they require a partner to reproduce, but we speculate that both options are possible. Of course, we're not going to ask them, that'd just be awkward. And the Zabasi are already annoyed with us for asking them too many questions in the first place. A Polytopian child is fairly autonomous soon after hatching, able to walk and reason minutes after coming into the world, and they'll reach adulthood in approximately 5 years. Polytopian lifespans extend to about 50 years, but their constant infighting rarely allows the average Polytopian to see that age. Because of quick gestation and growth, Polytopians are known to rapidly multiply, which only fuels the constant conflicts they find themselves in. Lastly, there's a rarer, lesser-known subspecies of Polytopian, the giant, but we'll talk more about them in a later video. Mentally, Polytopians are an intelligent but emotional bunch. They're curious, inquisitive, and love to explore. But they're also driven more by emotion than logic. Their childlike senses of wonder and optimism fuel their love of discovery in life, but are undercut by their also childlike sense of bickering and routine squabbling. It's not unknown for Polytopians to break out into a fight or argument over relatively mundane, minuscule reasons. So, constant worrying is a fairly common thing for them. While they may be fiercely loyal to their group, Polytopians are also known to be swayed by promises of wealth, security, or some other benefit if presented to them. On the topic of intelligence, Polytopians have a very unusual sense of cognition. Polytopians are extremely resourceful and amazing at problem solving, often able to understand and reverse engineer technology far beyond their normal capabilities. We have examples of Polytopians hacking computers, playing modern instruments, and so forth. But why don't we see any of these things on the square? Simple. Polytopians just don't find this stuff useful in their daily lives. Getting them to understand an advanced topic is easy. Getting them to understand why they should use it is the hard part, and it requires a lot of resources and time to convince a population of the merits of some newfangled device. One could say that their technological development is in bursts due to this interaction, causing their overall development speed to be a little on the slow side. Another important oddity compared to us is their use of magic. The square has an ambient, let's say, field of magic that Polytopians can tap into. But understanding and manipulating magic is very difficult. It takes a lot of study, training, and dedication to harness the powers of magic, even by Polytopian standards. So most Polytopians never try. It's why you don't see very many mindbenders around. Using magic isn't impossible, but relatively impractical to most Polytopians, and thus is reserved for very special professions and ceremonies. We do have certain tribes, like the Aquarian, Illyrian, or Polaris, who use magic more liberally, but they're definitely the exception to the rule. Culturally, Polytopians are similar to us. They have families, songs, religions, governments, stories, shared clothing styles, and so forth. They care a lot about upholding their traditions and passing them down to their offspring. Most Polytopians consider themselves to be part of a tribe, such as the Imperius, the Kickoo, or the Yadak, and they base their entire identity around their tribal allegiance. It's possible to find the occasional band of unaligned Polytopians, but they're few and far between, as the benefits of being part of a larger tribal network are just too appealing. Speaking of religions, the tribes all differ in their various religious beliefs. This ranges from the generally esoteric Imo and their focus on meditation, to the rather rigid beliefs of the Quetzali and their pantheon of bird gods. Other religions of note are the Luxador's belief in the god of wealth, Exedulus, the Chinchi's reference of the Chinikai spirit at the top of Mount Jinji, and the Vengir's worship of Burzgor, god of blood. So, who are these metaphysical beings, and what do they want? We don't know much about them, as they won't return our calls. Here's a little-known fact. The Polytopians do know about us humans, and have even been to Earth on occasion. But why don't you see them all over our world if they can make their way here? Well, as usual, practicality. Opening a portal to Earth requires a lot of magical effort and focus, and the sheer amount of time, resources, and ability to do it just makes the whole thing not worth it. We'd love to have more Polytopians around, but until they find a better way to make the trip, we'll just have to wait. That's not also to say that their small stature wouldn't make living here very difficult, as remember they're only about 4 inches tall. You could easily get injured by a relatively ginormous world. And yes, Polytopians know about humanity. One of their first journeys to Earth brought them in contact with Midjiwan, which is what inspired him to make the game detailing their exploits in the first place. The Battle of Polytopia is a loose retelling / simulation of Polytopian history, approved by the Polytopians themselves. They understand it can't be exact to their experience, but they're happy that we humans get a chance to learn about them and understand their way of life in a fun, interactive way. Of course, not all interactions with Midjiwan have been positive, as he was once taken captive by the Vengir, and also had his computer hacked by the Quetzali. But overall, Polytopians respect him, his game, you, and the rest of its many players. What do you think about the Polytopians? Have you met them? Have we mentioned everything about this mysterious race? Let us know in the comments. And remember, maybe the next being you see step out of a magical portal could be your new best friend. Thanks for watching.